Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to be here tonight with Dr. Justin Aglio. We are really, really pleased that he is choosing to join us and share out with all of you tonight. Justin is a former teacher and award-winning principal, and he is the Director of Academic Achievement and District Innovation at Montour School District. I'm sure we'll hear more about his role and the students that he gets to serve throughout our time together tonight. If you have questions as we go along, please feel free to put those in the chat. We'll also have some time at the end that we can answer those or use the virtual hand raise throughout if you have any questions. So thank you again, Justin, for being here tonight with us. We're really, really pleased. You can take it away from here.
All right, thank you. Can everyone see my screen okay? Able to see the presentation? We're good? Yes? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Eric and everyone. So yeah, thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you, PAECT. Big fan of PEACT, so thank you so much. So just kind of start from the get-go. This is an Artificial Intelligence 101. We can go for 2 weeks about AI, but this is kind of what you need to know about education now, not tomorrow, but now, because it's happening all around us. It's impacting all of us. We're going to get a little bit more about that in a minute here, but I want you to do me a favor. I want you to use your imagination. I want you to imagine that you are a middle school classroom and you're a bunch of middle school students, and this is a math class. And I know for some of you it's kind of scary to go back to middle school as a math student, but that's okay. It's going to be a fun math class. And I'm going to be your math middle school teacher. So I want you to imagine for 1 second you're sitting in class and you have a computer sitting in front of you. And this computer has an adaptive software system on that uses artificial intelligence to level your learning up and down. But here's the cool part. I, as the classroom teacher, I have a big giant set of smart glasses on my head. And with my smart glasses, I can see all the students in the class, including Sarah. Sarah's doing really well. She's answering all of her questions. She has an emoji sign above her head. And that emoji sign has a big smiley face on. And I can see that through augmented reality. Maybe say Eric's falling asleep. And he's not doing his work, but he's looking at me like he's focused and intense, and he's doing really well. But because artificial intelligence and the adaptive tutoring system, I can see through that emoji that Eric has a question mark above his head. Now here comes the really cool part. I can take my finger as the classroom teacher and stand anywhere in the classroom, and I can point on Eric or Sarah or anyone else's emoji sign, and above it, their head, comes their computer screen of the question that they're currently working on and all the problems that they're struggling with. And if I look to the side of the class, there's a bar graph of all the standards in the class, and it shows the progression of the class, how students are acting. And I can see all this through augmented reality, and at the same time, I'm getting data up my computer, giving me suggestions on what I can do to teach the class better. Sounds pretty cool. Sounds like the future of education, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's happening right now. Here is, get my slides going. All right. This is a picture of a middle school classroom, David E. Williams Middle School in Montour School District. You can see the teacher. This is Dana Rongus, the math teacher. You can see the smart glasses on her head. And you can see on the other side of the screen, the current problem, all the problems they're struggling with. On the bottom, you can see the different emojis above everyone's head. Now, the coolest thing about this picture, however, is this student right here. This student is looking at the teacher and actually took this picture, and she said, wow, I so want to be a teacher now. So it actually made teaching a lot more fun for Dana. But the neat thing about Dana is that she's doing all of this. She could tell what students are learning all the time. And she's using AR, artificial intelligence, adaptive tutoring systems. And she's doing this all now in a 5th grade classroom. So, but the neat thing about this is you can take Dana, you can take the technology, the AI, the AR, all that stuff. This would not happen without her, the teacher. Dana is the true innovator in this classroom. It's not the AI, it's Dana. So therefore, I believe 100% strongly that innovation starts and ends with people. It doesn't start with the technology. It doesn't start with the AI or anything like that. You have to have innovators willing to take chances and have that growth mindset to say, I'm going to try this. Now, I know it's going to work because at the end of the day, it works best for my kids. And if it works best for my kids, I'm going to use it. I'm going to try it all the time. Not just teachers, but people in general. I'm talking administrators, coaches, instructional coaches, the parent volunteers, anyone else who works with children. They are the innovators, and they're the ones who are innovating new ideas in the classroom. And at the end of the day, student success only relies on one thing: people. People are the number one influencer of student success, not a computer, not a fancy program. So when a curriculum director says this program right here is going to make our students achieve a lot higher, it could help them, great, but it's the people that are going to influence the student learning in the classroom. At the end of the day, everything we do, technology, whatever, comes back to the people. So I just want to take a minute and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here tonight. You could be on your couch, you could be at school, you could be anywhere you want to, but at the end of the day, I want to thank you for being here tonight, for having that growth mindset, to taking a chance to learn about artificial intelligence. It's a scary topic. It's new. A lot of people don't know about it. A lot of people know about it. A lot of people think they know about it, but they really don't know about it. So I want to thank you for taking the time to be here tonight and spending this hour with me. And I wanted this opportunity not just to share, but also to learn from you. So again, thank you for being here tonight. And I want to make sure I also emphasize that when it comes to people and innovation and doing what's best for students, I want people to also know one thing. You don't need a PhD and you don't need an associate's degree. You don't need a bachelor's degree to do what's best for kids. You don't need an MBA. What you need is something. It's called this, CS, common sense, right? You need common sense because at the end of the day, common sense is one thing. Do what's best for kids. If we know something's working in the classroom and we know it's going to help them, we need to do it. And we don't need sometimes someone telling us what to do, that what works best for kids. Sometimes you got to use your gut to do what's best for your kids. And sometimes that means taking chances in the classroom. Sometimes that means going out and trying and learning new things like you're doing tonight. So again, I want to thank you for being here tonight. And I want to appreciate because you had the common sense to know that AI is a big topic. We need to learn about it in education. I love this comment. This is Herb Simon right here. Herb Simon is one of the pioneers of artificial intelligence. In 1956, he actually founded he and two other gentlemen from Carnegie Mellon founded the first AI program. And Herb Simon believes that our job's not to predict the future. Our job's to give young ones, the kids, they are part of the future. And our job is not to predict it, but our job is to design the future. We are the designers of the future. He means we are designers of the future. I think what he's trying to say, we as teachers, we design the future that we envision. And every single day, there are millions of kids sitting in classrooms every single day that have a sense of fearlessness and optimism to help change the world and make it a better place. And there's no better job in education than a teacher to design the future. So I want to, again, thank you for designing the future. And I want you to know that it's up to us. Like I said, we have millions of kids in classrooms, and these students are sitting there every day. And then 10 years from now, hear all these things, how education's going to change and society's going to change. Well, these 10 years from now, these are middle school students. So if we're still teaching them the same thing over and over again, and they're learning the same thing over and over again, well, in 10 years from now, we're going to have the same thing that's happening to them, that's been happening to them, but society will change, and they're going to be further behind. We're going to talk a little bit about that here in a little bit. But I want to, when I talk about this, I also want to talk about how we got to let go of the past. You know, we have to let go of what is the past, what's worked in the past, and we have to be open-minded to what is going to work in the future. So I just want to take a minute, and I have two questions for you. Two questions tonight. One's about the past, and one is about the future. So I'm going to need your help, a little participation here. And so here's the first question. What is this? Are you ready? Here we go. Boom. What is that? I think we can all guess. I mean, I know you could type it in the chat or whatever, but I think we can all guess that that's a cassette tape, right? But it's not just a cassette tape. It's Vanilla Ice to the extreme. And if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know Vanilla Ice. You know, we can all sing it together. Stop, collaborate, and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention, something. Grabs a hold of me tightly. That's Vanilla Ice. We know what a cassette tape is. I guarantee everybody in this person has a cassette tape somewhere hidden in the closet. And I said, play this cassette tape. You get excited about it, and you're running, you're playing this cassette tape. But here's the crazy part. I have 3 kids at home. I have an 11, 9, and 6-year-old. And a couple of years ago, I found a cassette tape, and I found my cassette player. And I wanted to kind of put a challenge to my kids. And I want to say, okay, can you play this cassette tape? And I want you to watch what happens. I love it. It's one of the best videos of my life. Can you hear that? Can someone type yes if they can hear that? Cool. Thank you. These are my 2 boys. I have 2 boys and a girl. The girl's in the middle, so it's my oldest and youngest. So I'm even going to fast forward this a little bit because this actually goes on for almost 2 minutes. But they finally got it. So yeah, kudos to them. So they finally surprised to have a boombox. Yeah, we actually still have that. I don't know how we still have it, but so those are my boys, right? Trying to figure out a cassette tape. So I have a question. Next question. This is a future question. So that's the past question. Now here's a future question. And if we had microphones and everything, I'll maybe ask you, or maybe not. I don't want to embarrass anyone, but who can tell me the academic version and scholarly version of this definition right here? What is artificial intelligence? I asked so many adults this question, and not to embarrass anyone, but everyone says, "Oh, I think I know what it is. I know I can explain it somehow what it is, or show you examples of it." But it's a tough question to ask. But here's the kicker. So we can explain what a cassette tape is, but I give it to my sons, and they can't play it. But I asked my son one time, we were driving to one of his practices, my oldest son, at the time, he was about 10 years old. I'm driving, and here I am. I'm a guy who is real big in artificial intelligence, but he doesn't go to the district I work in. And I said, Lewis, what does artificial intelligence, AI, have you ever heard of it? He's like, oh, I know. Yeah, Dad, I've heard of AI. I was like, what is it? He goes, it's on my Xbox, Dad. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, it's on my Xbox. It's the AI plays against me when I'm playing games. And then the phone for the facial recognition, it's collecting all the data about my face, and it can point me out. And the Google Home that we have at school, that's the virtual AI. That's, I've asked a question, and it's trying to figure out searching the answer for me. And he goes on and on and on. I said, what is AI? He's like, oh, it's basically like something learns all this stuff using this data and information. And then it kind of just predicts by some type of program and just gives me an answer. And it's kind of just like a machine that's smart. I was like, holy cow, that definition, like right there in those examples are better than 99.9% of the adults I talk to. And I couldn't I couldn't believe it, but I could believe it. And but he's the same kid that doesn't have any clue how to work a cassette tape. So it just clicked in my head right away. Boom. Let's make learning relevant to the world our kids live in. We hear that all the time, and that's going to be a saying that's going to follow us year after year. Maybe not AI tomorrow, maybe something else, but something else in 10, 15 years from now. But we always need to come back to this, make learning relevant to the world our kids live in. And this so reminds me of a story one time I'm going to go back to my son again. I said to my oldest son one time, I'm talking to him in bed, and I said, son, you got to know important things in life. You got to know like facts, like who's the 16th president. He looked at me and said, Dad, I don't have to know that stuff. I said, yeah, you do. You have to know this stuff. Dad, I don't. Because Dad, I'll ask Google. I was like, son, Google hasn't always been around. Google may not always be around. He goes, Dad, when was Google invented? When was the first year of Google? And I said to him, I said, you know what? I don't know that question. He said, Dad, you know what we need to do? We need to Google it. So we Googled it, and it was 1998 that Google was invented. I said, okay, so it's been around for a while, but you know what? You still need to learn things. Like your dad, when I had a flat tire, like I had to go watch someone do it to teach me how to change that flat tire. And he said, Dad, I don't have to know how to change a flat tire or anything. I'll just watch YouTube. And I was like, son, YouTube's not always going to be around. You still need to learn those basic things in life. Because Dad, when was YouTube created? When was it the first year of YouTube? And I said, I don't know, son. He said, Dad, Google it. So we Googled it again. It was 2005. And he said, Dad, when was I born? I said, I know that answer, 2007. He goes, Dad, YouTube and Google have been around my whole life, and it will always be around my whole life. Good night. And so I left the room, and so kind of going back, doing this thing, we need to make learning relevant to the world our kids live in, because tapes don't exist anymore. Knowing those facts don't exist anymore. And our kids are surrounded by this. They're surrounded by Google. They're surrounded by YouTube. And they're surrounded by artificial intelligence. And so when we look at that question, what is artificial intelligence? We're going to break it down a little bit more so we can all have this basic understanding. And then we're going to kind of walk through how artificial intelligence is being used in education. So the first thing is, let's Google, what is artificial intelligence? Let's actually Google this one. And so, you know, Google has, you kick like it goes right to the definition. It's about a theory development of human intelligence in the computer. Well, we tell our students at Montour, so it's very simple. When I ask the question, so what's artificial intelligence? The first thing we talk about, and they say, you know, they give me all these different examples. So put this down, make it really, really simple. What's artificial? And they said, well, it's man-made. It's not real. I said, perfect. Keep that. Write that down. And I said, what's intelligence? Smart. When something's smart. I said, write that down. Now read what you just wrote down. Man-made smartness. Fake things that are smart. I said, guys, that's really artificial intelligence. It's things that are not real. It's being smart. It's acting smart. I said, so let's bring it down a notch and let's talk about that. Here's some other definitions. This is an organization, AI for K-12, and Dr. David Saretsky out of Carnegie Mellon University Computer Science is the chairman of this. And he explains that he actually worked with MIT's Media Lab and some other people on this definition. But he just basically says it's human-like, it's problem-solving, decision-making, it's sequencing, and it's using computers. So it's machines that are human-like that think like humans do. So that's a definition of artificial intelligence. Here's one at Carnegie Mellon University for their AI program. They explain that it's simple. And it's the way it's AI must understand the world and make smart decisions based on that understanding. So here's another very simple definition of artificial intelligence. But Mark Cuban, when he was at Carnegie Mellon a few years ago, he said you need to learn the basics of AI. Because if you don't know the basics 3 years from now, you will be a dinosaur. Think about that. And that was a year ago. So 2 years from now, we're going to all be dinosaurs if we don't know the basics of AI. So we're going to do a really, really easy activity. We're actually going to look at a subset of artificial intelligence, machine learning. And we're going to give a basic definition of it. So here we go. First thing, data sets. So we're going to need data sets. What's data? Another word for information. So we need a bunch of information. Let's pull out a bunch of information on the screen. Boom, we have data. We have peanut butter. We have things. We have jelly. We have bread. There's our information, okay? Next thing we need to do is we need an algorithm. What's an algorithm? It's a computer program. It's a set of rules. So now we need to take all this information, the peanut butter, jelly, and bread. We need to give it a set of rules, right? So how do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Well, do you do whole bread? Do you whole wheat bread? Do you do white bread? Do you do crust? Do you do a lot of peanut butter? Do you do a lot of jelly? Do you use Nutella on your peanut butter? So now the algorithms now, as we can get all this data, they look completely different from each other. There's not always the same computer programming. So when you're collecting your data and you're programming it to do certain things, you're programmed to do certain, what's called predictions. So now we're making predictions based upon certain algorithms that we make using the data. A good example in this one, you take peanut butter, jelly, and bread, and you make a sandwich, is the prediction is it's going to be a good sandwich. So there's your basic definition of machine learning when it comes to AI. You have data sets, algorithms, prediction. Think like Alexa, where you say, okay, Alexa, what's the weather going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Boom, it's collecting data. It has a computer program with an algorithm that's going to tell you and predict to you the weather. And those are some of the basic definitions and basic ways we explain artificial intelligence when we talk to our students about it. So again, AI, I mean, one thing that AI does not impact our lives. We see commercials all the time on AI. Every time we pick up our phone and put it in our pocket, there's tons of AI in our pockets. It's on our televisions. It's on YouTube recommenders. It's on Netflix. In fact, I joke with the kids all the time. I said, what's that one thing? ET or something like that, YouTube. And they're like, YouTube. And I was like, yeah, YouTube. What is it? And they're all laughing. I said, I've never heard of it. And they say, you know, it's when you watch videos and say, how do you videos come up? Well, it's based upon what videos they recommend for. How does that happen? Well, it watches what you watch based upon the information you give, and it's making predictions what you want to watch next. I was like, guys are talking AI to me. I love it. It's beautiful. So AI, folks, it's all around us. It's really, and again, our kids are surrounded by artificial intelligence. Our cars, everything is getting programmed more and more with artificial intelligence. Some people are predicting that AI, when we have contact lenses, your Alexa went crazy. I love it. Alexa, hey Alexa, hey Alexa. So I was looking in the chat there, but you know, some people are predicting we put contact lenses in, that the contact lenses will pick up visual cues and everything, and see and give you information based upon if you blink or not using your contact lenses. And that's not too far out. Pretty crazy things going on. And everywhere I look, like I said, headlines, AI, AI, AI. I bet you if you watch a TV tonight, if you listen to the radio, if you look at the news on your news feed, there's going to be some story about automation, artificial intelligence. There's a company in Pittsburgh called Argo AI and Ford Motor Company, and I think Volkswagen is going to be working with them. But they have in Miami right now at Walmart, they have autonomous vehicles taking groceries to people's houses right now using autonomous vehicles in Miami from Argo Ford cars to people's houses without a driver on. That's happening today. And that's not the future. That is today. I just talked to a gentleman from Uber today. He's all excited because they're so close again to rolling out their autonomous vehicles. This stuff is so close, and it's going to disrupt everything. In fact, some experts are saying it's going to disrupt 40% of our jobs 10 years from now. And if you think about it, those 10 years from now are middle school kids right now will be in college or the workforce. And it could be scary. But it also, if we can design the future that we envision, it could be also very exciting for our kids. Washington Post says, you know, like I said, Google's around us everywhere. Amazon, Spotify, all those things. AI is watching and recording almost all of our human behaviors. That's not science fiction. That's reality. 60 Minutes the other night, 2 weekends ago, 2 Sundays, Kai-Fu Lee, who's the oracle of AI, former business executive at Apple, Microsoft, and former head of Google AI Cloud, says, I believe AI is going to change the world more than anything in the history of mankind. And he said more than electricity disrupted and changed history. So those are coming from people, experts all around the world. Stephen Hawking said it best. I believe that AI can be the best or worst thing in the world using artificial intelligence. And I truly believe this. And here's the scary part. You know, we say AI is coming and it's going to be here. We need to teach it, and why we need to teach it. But I honestly think that we need to teach it for a couple of reasons. And one thing I think we need to teach it is because we have an opportunity to design the future that we envision. I think the future that we envision has the fact that we have ideas and we have creativity in our room. And we have students that have an opportunity that their parents may not have had an opportunity because the world wasn't set up like this. And they're creative and they're curious. So this is why, right here, why I think it's important that we know AI. It's important that we use AI in how we design the future that we envision through artificial intelligence, because things like this could happen. A 13-year-old student from Oregon is working on a treatment to cure pancreatic cancer. How awesome is that? That's 13 years old. And you cannot do this without artificial intelligence. A university of Washington is using 40 years of data for cancer research. And they are predicting when cancer is going to happen, and it's going to be using it to fight cancer through algorithms. Now, that data we've always had, but the computers were never fast enough and the programs were not smart enough. But with artificial intelligence, now we're talking about saving lives. So it's not just the fact that AI is cool to teach, but AI could solve a life. And it could be someone in our family. And it could be someone in your classroom today that comes up with the cure for this. And it's not that far-fetched to think about something like that. Artificial intelligence can detect Alzheimer's disease 6 years before it happens. Think about that. And this is stuff right here that if you pick up and Google artificial intelligence right now, if you just Google it, you're going to get over a half a billion results. And if you go down and you continue down into it and do the news, you're going to get articles like that over and over again. I can Google those articles for you all day long about the significance. And who says that we don't need new ideas in the future? Because we need new ideas. I believe so, like curing cancer. We also need new ideas to celebrate diversity. We also need new ideas to provide clean water sources to people around the world, or food. And artificial intelligence is the way and the means to do those things. This is pretty scary. Here's where we are right now, where that little arrow is the blue one. That's our, right now we're smarter than computers, our brains. And a lot of experts, no matter who you talk to in the computer field, say in the near future, within our lifetime, computers will outperform the human brain. That's not 100 years from now. That is within our lifetime. And we need to get ahead of it, and we need to continue to teach those things. Here's another thing, AI, World Economic Forum. Everything, like I said, every job will be impacted by artificial intelligence. Our superintendent's mother's a nurse, and he said, hey, we're doing this AI program one night during a Sunday dinner. And his mother looked up and said, artificial intelligence, we just learned about that at the hospital, where it's giving us ways that we can help our patients and diagnoses and medications to give to our patients. So it's impacting hospitals, policymakers, politicians, civic leaders, police forces are using artificial intelligence to catch criminals. So artificial intelligence is already impacting every major job field. You know, they talk about, here's this, in 2018, humans through automation are still winning. But you see, not too long from now, 7 years from now, they're predicting that machines will take over the automation for humans in the division of labor. And if you don't believe me, here's a person from China right now, 5 o'clock news, live from China, is this man. Did you ever see this video before?
Hello, everyone. I'm an English artificial intelligence anchor. This is my very first day in Sigma's agency.
Crazy, right? This guy's doing artificial intelligence for the news. And that's an avatar. It's a real anchor. So that's artificial intelligence being used right now in different countries to replace things that, like the news anchor. Here's other jobs. Now, the crazy thing about this screen is that you look at the numbers, the blue, green, and yellow, they're doubling every year. Every year, these are doubling. 2015, 16, 17. What's 2018 going to look like? Look at education. It's the second thing. Boom, there it is right there. Software services, education. Everywhere we're seeing is AI. A great report just came out from KnowledgeWorks 5.0. They talked about wonderful articles in there about artificial intelligence, how it's changing the landscape of education. And it basically look at greater convenience and efficiencies. Our school district, we have every fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, every fourth grade classroom and fifth and sixth grade social studies classroom has an Alexa device into it. Teachers use it, and because they said it's more convenient. And other teachers want it as well, because they said that sometimes, if I can't help a student, Alexa's going to help the student. So again, it's making our convenience, not just like in education, but like I said, city services, transportation, retail, professional services, healthcare, entertainment, and education, everywhere. This is, here's another expert. Like we talked about Stephen Hawkins before about having AI be something that is going to be good or bad. Well, artificial intelligence will be the biggest thing that could change mankind because it could cause the biggest disparity between humans. And I'm afraid of this. This is a current picture right now that I found, but this is going to be something that's happening because people that are aware of artificial intelligence and are doing things with it, they're going to be the ones that have the big businesses, have the money, have the power. And people that are not going to be exposed to it, just like almost like reading. If you could read 100, 200 years ago today, you're advancing. If you couldn't read before, you can't. AI is going to have that same impact or already has that same impact on companies. So you're going to create the separation of the haves and the have-nots. And it's just not in neighborhoods or cities. You're talking countries, the super countries versus the countries that are not third world countries and fifth world countries by that. Because there's a race right now for artificial intelligence that we can do. And here's China. China's now World Economic Forum has become the AI leader. And why have they become the AI leader? It's for one reason and one reason only, education. This is a textbook from a high school Chinese classroom. Fundamentals of artificial intelligence. If I could see you right now, I said, raise your hand. How many teachers, how many high schools are teaching this or have this textbook? I wouldn't see any hands up right now. This is happening. This is real in Chinese classrooms. Pretty crazy, pretty crazy. Yeah, someone just put on chat like a current space race. I mean, this is even, more because AI is something that everyone can do here. Space race, again, it's government or it's commercial or kind of the elite, the Elon Musk and so forth. But AI, it's everyone. It's impacting everyone. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very, very lucky. I'm associated with Montour School District. I'm the Director of Academic Achievement. I'm the Curriculum Director for the district. I'm a visiting fellow at Carnegie Mellon University's Human Computers Interaction Institute in the School of Computer Science. Carnegie Mellon launched this fall the first AI bachelor's degree in the country. Montour School District, we launched this fall the first AI program for a K-12 school system. So same time, both places that I'm associated with, we launched the first AI program in K-12 and in higher ed. And so I'm really fortunate, in our schools are about 8 or 10 miles apart from each other. So I'm really fortunate to be in a space to kind of get all this and understand how this is impactful. But now we have to kind of take it down as how does it impact the classroom teacher? So last spring, we looked at our middle school principal and our middle school teachers. We looked at where do we want our students to be? What do we want our teachers to be? Well, we want them to be really have a good, solid background in STEM education and go deeper in STEM learning. And we also want them to understand data. We want them to be reading their own data. We want them to understand it, explain it, not just teachers, but students, because we know data doubles, every month, the creation throughout mankind, and it continues to go more and more. So these are the things we want it to be. So we kind of did a lot of homework with it, and a lot of things happen around this time. For example, this guy, we all know that we see this guy 5 times a night on TV if you watch TV for like 30 minutes. Microsoft commercial, AI is impacting farming. AI helped this guy build this architecture. AI is helping this photograph, Common's talking about AI all the time, Microsoft. And this came out last year during the Super Bowl last year. So about a year ago, this commercial came out. And about a year ago, we started thinking about how we're going to get data literacy and STEM inquiry. And then Carnegie Mellon launched in the last spring. They announced that they're going to do an AI program. So we said, what is AI? Well, it's data, it's STEM education. And then Google came out with their Google principles last June. So then we started really thinking, oh man, maybe this AI thing, maybe that has some legs to it. And so the really sticking point is this right here, Double Dare. Nickelodeon, where you get slimed all the time. So Double Dare was on TV beginning of last summer. And again, I'm sitting with my kids and on Double Dare, and I'm watching it. And they're asking people questions, and like all of us, we're getting some right and some wrong. And one question came up. They said, what does AI mean in computer science? And all the kids on TV are like, boom, artificial intelligence. And my kids on the couch are like, artificial intelligence. I'm thinking, there we go. Going back to what's relevant to our kids. My kids knew AI, Double Dare kids knew AI, CMU's pumping us out. It looks very intimidating. So we went back to school the next day and we said, you know what? In July, we announced we're going to do this AI program. And so our Montour Schools District prepares students for an AI future. And so we started thinking, like, what's this mean? What are we going to do? So we started talking to a big group of our teachers. In fact, we interviewed every teacher, and we started talking to different teachers, and we said, you know, how can this AI look in your classroom? Then we started calling people, our partners. We started calling different universities, and we started calling different businesses and said, what are you doing in AI? We're thinking about this. And also, we also called a lot of other school districts. And we said, are you doing anything in artificial intelligence formally? And every single one of them I talked to said, no, but I think it's something that we need to do, or we thought of it, but we're not sure if it's the right time. So our question was, why not? Why isn't this the right time? When will be the right time? So we started going on and saying, okay, well, if we take this risk and we say we're going to teach it, we're going to mess up 1,000 times, but hopefully other people will start doing it and we'll mess up together 1,000 times. Then in the end, we'll come up with 1,000 ways we can do this right all together, not just at Montour, but across the state and across the country. So thank goodness we reached out to a lot of partners, and a lot of people said yes. Amper Music, which is a great software. So if you have a pen or pencil or paper or anything, want to take some notes, these are some great resources to tap into right now. Amper Music, great resource to tap into. It's the world's largest database of instruments, and students can go on and they can put what kind of song they want, the rhythm, different features of a song. And at the end, it can render a song using artificial intelligence to program through the algorithm within 10 seconds, their own composed song that they can actually take and copyright that song with. Pretty cool things. We have a whole curriculum based around it. Carnegie Mellon, reached out to them. They gave us a great support system. Actually, our autonomous robotics program, software called Calypso, is developed out of Carnegie Mellon through Dr. David Turetsky out of the computer science department. Carnegie Learning, they make the program Mathia. We went to them and said, listen, we want to do a computer science program, but we don't know how to build a program on a computer. You do. We have the teachers, we have the students that are eager to do this. Can we work together? So our computer science teachers working hand in hand with Carnegie Learning, and they built an entire introduction to artificial intelligence course for middle school students. It's a competency-based learning program that students are working on all the time. It's about a 6 or 7 week course, and it's a really cool course. The final project is students are programming to teach the machine, the computer, how to play tic-tac-toe. And eventually, after playing the game for so long, the machine will learn how to play tic-tac-toe and beat the student, kind of like the old movie War Games. Atheon, they make the tug robotics, and Argo AI. We're working with them to take students to the workplace to see what AI looks like at the workplace and see how it's impacted not just the engineers, but throughout the whole company. AI for All out of San Francisco, working with them to make sure all students have access to artificial intelligence. And the artificial intelligence program that we built for our middle school is not just one class where 30 students take. Every single student in our middle school goes to an artificial intelligence program, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We have almost 1,000 students. To date, we've taught over 500 students artificial intelligence programs. Prometheum was a big partner with us. They gave us some of the technology to try out. Ready AI, it's an all-in-one box, a autonomous robotics kit that comes with a Cosmo, which you see down below, and it comes with an Xbox controller and the software that CMU built for us. It comes in a box, you open it up, and the neat thing about this is the curriculum and the championship that our students participated with, it uses AI to solve problems within the world. So they take, how can we take autonomous vehicles and put out fires in California? How can we collect garbage in the ocean using autonomous vehicles? And the last one's the MIT Media Lab. And this is one of my one of my like big mysteries here. We pushed out that we put this AI curriculum together, and we wanted to teach this ethics course because we believe if we teach technology, we have to believe that, remember, it's not technology that's changing the future. It's the people that program, the innovators that will change the future. So we needed to teach good ethics with it. Well, MIT Media Lab called us and said, hey, we're building this ethics course for higher ed, but it'd be really neat to do it in middle school. So Blakely Hoffman is an MIT research assistant graduate, said she would like to come to our school and teach it to our students and do a year-long research project between MIT and Montour. So she came in October and she taught 30 lessons to our students, and she's coming back in the spring to teach another 30 lessons. And we also teach it. We push her through a library class so all students get it at our middle school. So every 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grader goes through an MIT curriculum class on artificial intelligence ethics. We think that's pretty cool. So that's kind of the partners we have, and we continue to get people to call us all the time. So let's take a deep dive into the curriculum, and also this too. With AI, we didn't want to. We know we couldn't do it alone, like a lot of things, right? But we needed to rely on our partners, like Carnegie Learning, to build a software. So I strongly believe in this, not just in AI, but in everything we do in education, and it relies on the shoulder of the strongest partnership. So think about that in the back of your mind as you move forward through anything you do. So here's our autonomous robotics class. And like I said, it comes with a computer, and it's an Xbox controller, and it also a little Kindle and a robot. But I want to preference too that someone said to me before, well, artificial intelligence, a whole program, all these different classes, that sounds really expensive. I said, no. I said, actually, the whole program itself, it's less than taking a couple kids on a field trip. That's how much money we're talking about. Maybe the whole thing we did, 100% transparency, was maybe $2,200 for everything that we offer to our students. And so, which we already had budgeted for to do some programs like this. So this is autonomous robotics. And you can see students programming it using an Xbox controller. And you can see we have all types of students. We have, every type of student in our school district has been exposed to this type of technology. So again, this is Ready AI. This is a pretty neat thing. And here's actually a competition that we hosted, the World Artificial Intelligence Championship for Youth. Last year was the first year at Carnegie Mellon, and they asked us to host a regional competition, which we did in December. We're hosting another one in the spring, and hopefully we'll host a world championships or a US championships here soon. So here's just a little video about that day. So you could see the fire and everything, and there was a nuclear plant that blew up. They had to send autonomous vehicles in to put the plant to do the plant out. A lot of people did ones where senior citizens were driving, and they had to make programs to drive them home. So they just not only had to program it and showcase it, but you're seeing a second, they actually had to present and judge. This is Bill Black, our artificial intelligence teacher.
6 weeks in preparation for the classes. Maybe 150 kids overall with me did a project. Groups that were here today that were represented today are groups that got the furthest in their program set aside in their communication of their problem classes they do. So I'm anxious to see them do it in front of their peers, basically in front of students. I'm just glad the day is here and we're ready.
So you see the students right now, they had to do a demonstration presentation to a group of judges, and not just any judge, professors from Carnegie Mellon, superintendents. It was a really high-end group they had to present in front of. So really, really proud of our students there stepping up to the challenge. But here's a picture of our Introduction to Artificial Intelligence course at Carnegie Learning. You see the team there. Actually, it's pretty neat. The vice president of the company's there. Another guy sitting on the couch with the green shirt. He's one of the co-founders of the company. The guy in the back with the shirt on it, in the back collar shirt, that is Rick Stetzer. He's our computer science teacher. He actually started with developing the software on day one with the company, which is really exciting because now he has ownership of that, and he's helping and giving feedback throughout the process. This is our Amper Music, artificial intelligence music composer. And we're not just teaching, but the founder of the company, Drew, you could see him. He actually Skyped in with our kids the second day. So it's part of our program. So the first day, our kids research artificial intelligence. They Skype in with the owner of the company, and then they learn song analysis, and they program it. And then at the end of the day, we have a showcase for them as well. Here's our ethics course. Our ethics course, we did a lot of different exciting projects with our students. You can see how can we determine an action is right and wrong. We looked at pictures up to the top right corners. That's Joy from MIT. She did a whole project on gender shades. And so Joy is an African-American woman, and she did this visual recognition program where she looked in the screen and it didn't recognize that she was a person. And then her white friend came on and recognized that she was a person. So when Joy looked again, it didn't recognize her. So she picked up a white mask and she put the white mask on, and it recognized that she was a white man. So one of the things that she's teaching, we're teaching to our students, if AI is not made for all people, then it should not be made. Here's another example we did. We had our students redesign what YouTube should look like in an ethical manner rather than a money-making generator, and we had students do ethical matrix charts. And we used the trolley experiment. Say you're programming a self-driving car. Does it, if the brakes do not work in the car, and is the car programmed to go off the road and kill the passenger and the people in the car? Or is the car programmed to go straight and kill the 5 people walking in front? Well, a lot of our kids said, well, if I'm driving by myself, I would want the car to crash into the wall and kill me. Well, we said, well, who's going to buy a car that's programmed to kill you? And they all put their hands down. But those are the ethical decisions we have to make when we're talking about AI education. On Tuesday, and 2 days ago, we actually had something called the AI Grand Showcase. And we invited the community in, not just to hear from the adults, but also we wanted to hear the students. The students wanted to present their projects and everything they worked on. So we had about 90 students in our AI hub. And we had a long list of people coming into the school. You could see in the top corner, that's U.S. Representative Connor Lamb, congressmen come in. The Congress is really interested in artificial intelligence. The U.S. government, they want to come in and they want to see what's going on in artificial intelligence. Pennsylvania Secretary of Education, Pedro Rivera, he's up on stage. He came and helped kick off our AI event. Students, you could see in the corner talking about our middle school ethics class, and students talking about their computer science project. But, I told the students, I said, you're going to have 100 people coming through this door, and we're going to step back. You're going to explain what you did. And they blew the socks off the adults. I know Rochelle was there. She got to see it in action, and it was really cool to listen to the students. And someone said, how did they get graded on this, to see how they did? I was like, honestly, we didn't do a lot of grades. It's all competency-based. They had to pass things to get to the next thing. And I don't think we even gave it an official A to anyone. And they said, but your kids loved it. I said, because they were interested in it. It was relevant to them. It was exciting to them. And they loved it. That's why they were passionate about it. So a lot of people say, okay, all right, where do I start? I want to do AI at my school, but I have no idea where to start. I got an email today from a school district. Hey, Justin, I want to start an AI program in my school. I don't even know where to start. How do I start? So here I'm going to give you 5 tips right now. Quick tips to do a blueprint for an AI culture. I'm going to go through these pretty quick. First one, be a champion or find a champion. For our district, it started out me, our principal, our teachers, now our students, now our board of education. But you have to, like any movement, you have to have a champion that's going to influence a voice in your community. And you have to find that person or you have to be that person and be the change agent. Any initiative that starts needs to have a champion behind it. 2, you have to seek partners. So us, to create an AI movement, we had to reach out to universities, civic leaders, businesses. Without that, we couldn't do our AI program. So you have to not just rely on partners, you have to go seek out your partners. You have to make it intergenerational. You have to involve adults and students. You have to learn together. This is something that adults cannot teach students. They have to learn together through this process. Make it intergenerational, involve adults, and have students sit down and have good dialogue with each other. You have to document and share. We did tons of posts. We talk about this. We use it on social media. We get people excited about what we are doing. I had a teacher said, hey, that was a pretty good article. My mother received a copy of the article, but I said, this is what I do. And so she said, where's your name? And he goes, oh, it wasn't an article, but this is what I do. So the next time we pushed an article out, we put his name into it, what he did. And I said, did you send that to your mom? He goes, first thing I did was I sent it to my mom, and she was proud of me. So you got to document and share. And that leads us to our last thing. You have to celebrate successes along the way. So that when you're going through your artificial intelligence journeys, you have to go through and you have to celebrate successes. We knew our students were succeeding in this. We knew that they had a voice to say. So why not bring the Secretary of Education in? He was so proud to say Pennsylvania had the school district with the first AI program. You know, we brought people in, we brought teachers in, we brought community members in, school board members in. We wanted to celebrate the successes, and we wanted our students to share their success. Also, rely on different frameworks. There's a million different frameworks out there that you can use. This is just one of them, Future Ready Schools, you know, to help you with a framework to kind of see an action plan, what you want to do. Who are the stakeholders involved? How are you going to share the information? How are you going to action plan? How do you know if your district's ready to move forward with this? A lot of good resources out there. And speaking of resources, there's a ton of stuff out there. You know, like I said, Ready AI, Teachable Machine. Actually, the guy who helped invent Teachable Machine, Byron Webster, was at our event on Tuesday from Google's Creative Lab in New York City. You know, we had him come in and we had him show that, hey, our students are using what you're doing. You know, all the visual assistant devices out, the AIY vision kits, Proto, QuickDraw. Next year in K through 4, we're using AI, Google AI Experiment, to teach all of our K through 4 students with Google AI, because we think it's a great way to introduce them. So I know that a lot of things I said, scary, change. You know, oh my goodness, I just learned all about this. I don't know what to do. How am I going to go back to my school district and say we need to do AI? Because they don't want to hear another change. They don't want to hear a change they don't understand. Well, I got a little story to tell you for 30 seconds. This is Mr. Rogers. We love Mr. Rogers in Pittsburgh. In fact, everyone loves Mr. Rogers. And this is the very first episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And in the first episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Charlie came back from the land of make-believe. And when he came back from make-believe, he said, King Friday does not like change. In fact, King Friday was against change. Well, Mr. Rogers says, well, I knew someone that changed their bed from this side of the room to that side of the room. And when they woke up the next day, they said, geez, I have some new ideas. And Mr. Rogers says, change is good, and change brings new ideas. So if you don't believe me, and if your school district does not want to believe you, tell them in the very first episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood on February 19th, 1968, Mr. Rogers says change is good. So my challenge for you is this. Do the best for your students. Believe your students are the best. Believe you are the best. Because the minute we stop believing our students are the best and they can do AI, and believe in the minute you think you can do AI, then our students get the best. And our students deserve nothing but the best. So please give them the best. Think they're the best. Think you're the best. And I want to thank you for tonight. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Rochelle, and thank you, team. And I'll take any questions anyone has at this time.
Any questions? We have an expert here.
I don't know.
I do definitely want to take the time to say thank you so much, Justin. It was awesome to get an overview, and I love that you shared with us those next steps and how it's working for you in your school and your district. So it'll be exciting to continue to follow your journey and learn from it as well.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so much fun. And next year we're doing a K through 12 curriculum. And for high school students, we're not really going to teach them the concepts of AI a lot, but we're going to try to get them out in businesses and have businesses and college universities come in and work with them. So they're seeing AI evolve as AI is evolving. That's one of the things we want to do for high school next year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Well, I mean, if you want to connect, connect me on Twitter at Justin Alio. Connect me that way. I'll connect back with you. Stay in touch. My information is on Montour School District's website. So please stay in touch, and I hope that I get a chance to meet everybody. So thank you.
Fantastic. I put the link to our upcoming PD events for PACT. Make sure that you check that out. We hope to see all of you at the KTI pre-conference. And following that, we have many, many webinars that are scheduled for you. We'd love to hear from you if you have ideas of other people you'd like to learn from or different platforms that you'd like to learn on. So please stay connected with us. We appreciate your time. I'll stay on if you have anything to share with me, but at this point, we'll go ahead and stop our recording. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.